Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you ready to go?
I am. Are you guys good to go?
It's very early in the morning, so I don't know if I would use the word good, but I am to go.
Okay, perfect.
Welcome to Now or Never on CBC Radio 1. I'm Chiwetelu.
And I'm Trevor Dineen.
And this is Katie Brunke, who has one of the darkest, dreariest, saddest commutes in all of Canada.
We'll start with going to Pape Station and work our way up.
That sounds almost ominous because it sounds like there's multiple legs to this trip.
There is. So it's like sometimes a 4-part journey. It just depends. So we'll get up to Pape on the 72 and then we'll see what bus is available and we'll go from there.
It's like an adventure. I like how you raised your eyes, like we'll start at Pape and then we'll see what's around. Maybe there's a magic carpet.
I wish, yes.
I think it's safe to say there is very little magic when it comes to a lot of people's commutes. I think it's one of the hardest parts of a lot of people's days. And in fact, according to Stats Canada, the average Canadian is spending 50 minutes a day getting to and from work. That's 2 back-to-back episodes of Corner Gas.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
I'm just saying.
And you know, Katie, she actually spends 2.5 hours to travel just 7 kilometers from her home in Toronto's East End to her gig as a dietitian interning at Sunnybrook Hospital. 2.5 hours.
That's crazy.
I see the bus.
Oh!
The blue lights. It's a good sign.
I like how it's almost like I see something in the distance. We have to
Is it a
stop.
mirage?
Is it a dream?
It could be at 6:45, but I swear it's real.
So this is
This
the
is it.
72
Part
Pape, part 1 of our 4-part journey.
Yes.
Here we go.
Next stop, Riverdale Avenue.
I think it's time, Canada, to bring a little more joy into our daily commutes. I know I needed it that morning.
I think a lot of people do need that. So today on Now or Never, we are on a mission to turn your commute from the worst part of your day
To the best. To the best. We're aiming big, and we're getting advice on how to do that from Canadians all across the country, from small town New Brunswick to the very traffic-clogged Toronto.
And Katie, I know you're listening because we told you you had to. And by the end of this episode, hopefully we'll convince you to try just a few simple ideas just to make your commute a little less soul-crushingly numb.
Katie Brunke, it's now or never.
You put one foot on the slider and the other foot kicks you along. And once you get going, you get to ride both feet.
We're coming up to the zipper merge.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah. So going all the way to 60.
I got picked up on a motorbike one day. I've been picked up by a school bus, dump truck. If you can think of it, I probably got picked up hiking by it.
A Dutch bicycle this one's almost like riding in a lazy boy around town. The first time I tried it, I just realized that it was doing something for my peace of mind, I guess.
All right, let's get the show on the road. Before we do, though, Aoife, I want to know, and all of Canada wants to know, how do you get to work in the morning?
I know they're on the edge of their seat to know how I get there. And it's a complicated system that involves skateboarding, basketball. It involves a child. There's so many pieces to it.
Yeah, if you want to see how she rides a basketball to work, there's a video of this. I've seen it.
Yeah, I made a short video of my commute, and it's on our Instagram. You can watch it at CBC Now or Never. And I'd love it if you're listening to this episode. Show me how you're getting to work too.
Now, it can be by video or even a photo if you want to send one in. Or if you're feeling really ambitious, get out the old GoPro, strap it on, and show us what your commute is.
Yeah. Trevor, you have a bit of a unusual commute.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because I actually have a second job here at CBC. I hosted this show.
Look at 2 jobs McGee over here.
2 jobs Dineen. No big deal. But I do. I do the traffic reporting for CBC Manitoba during the weekdays on the morning show. Mm-hmm. So I get up in the morning, like 6 a.m. I come into work, and then I proceed to guide people through the streets. But the funny part is, though, a lot of people always wonder how I can go about being in traffic for so long without losing my mind.
I would,
Yeah.
especially in early morning rush hour traffic.
But here's the thing. Things like barricades, stalled vehicles, big long lineups, you actually look forward to those because you have things to actually talk about on the radio instead of just sitting there bored half the time.
But you have to admit that for the average commuter, spotting any sort of blockage up ahead, it's not something that anyone else really looks forward to.
No, the most amount of calls I get from people are about barricades and lane closures where everyone's got to scoot into one lane.
Well, luckily for the motorists out there, and maybe unluckily for you, Trevor, I've discovered a way to get around traffic barriers just a little bit faster and effectively. And I got the scoop from a city councilor here in Winnipeg named Matt Allard. Hi, Matt.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
I'm Aoife.
Aoife, nice to meet you.
So what is Matt's little magic solution then to getting traffic moving quicker for people?
So Matt's idea is called the zipper merge. And to explain it, let's imagine you're driving and you see construction up ahead on the right-hand lane. So your lane's going to be ending. What do?
I feel like I would go to the left.
Yeah, you do, but not immediately. That's what Matt's saying. He wants you to fully utilize both lanes right up until that construction point. And at that point is when the person who's in the right lane should signal and the person who's in the left should allow them to come in an alternating way.
Like a zipper?
Yeah, you get it? And that's how the traffic should flow, that you fully utilize both lanes right up until that choke point.
It's funny, Bill, because I picture doing that, and the way you say it, it sounds like everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, come on in. But really, people just get mad.
Oh,
they get
so
frustrated,
upset.
they swear, they give you hand gestures.
And that's what Matt's saying, is that we need to completely rethink how we perceive those drivers, because that's actually how we should be approaching those merges.
Right now what happens is you'll have that one guy or gal who is in the right lane, and that person is perceived as a cheater. I guess somebody who's cut the line. But if you look at it from a traffic management perspective, the way other cities are starting to look at it is that actually that cheater is perhaps using the road the way that we should be using it, and in the zipper merge way.
So what are you expecting is going to happen as we're trying this zipper merge?
What can happen is that the person at the merge doesn't want to let you in. So that's when things get awkward and can feel a little dangerous.
I think you might be using dangerous a little bit too heavily there, but when you're in there, when you're in the danger zone, what did it feel like?
Oh, I was ready for this. I brought gloves. I brought aviators. I was ready for it, and we went into the heart of the traffic to try and make it happen. And this is what happened when you try a zipper merge. As we approach the zipper merge, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I hope we find a driver that's, willing to let us in right away without further ado, but you never know.
I've never been so excited for construction. We're coming up to the zipper merge. Okay, here it goes.
Okay, so here we go. So here you have all these people in the left lane, and they're thinking like, I know there's a construction point up ahead, and so I should get in the left lane. And so that's what they did. And here's me, and I'm like, oh, well, look at this wide open lane. Why is everybody in that other lane? So here we go, zipper merging. Yeah. So going all the way to 60, which is the speed limit. Here's a bus. And then here's the choke point. And so we're gonna zipper. Here we go. Trying to merge. One car doesn't let me merge. Two cars.
Oh, yeah.
And then third car lets me in. So there you go. But you could tell that first driver clearly did not want to let me through.
Oh,
so.
she for sure made a face at you.
Did she? Okay.
Yeah. I'll also say there was no one in the lane behind you, so no one was following your example.
Right. And that's the Winnipeg way.
I don't think it's just the Winnipeg way. I think when you travel in a lot of cities, you find that. But I think if people just kind of embrace this zipper merge, oh my goodness, traffic's going to flow.
Yeah. And people are embracing it across Canada. Matt says it's really starting to take off. In fact, the New York Times even wrote about it recently.
But we want to know what you think. What do you do, Canada? Do you wait at the back of the line like a nice polite person saying, oh, it's okay, I'll just wait back here?
Or do you interrupt and channel all your inner anger and barge right in there?
She was mean there.
I know.
But you have to be sometimes.
I have to zipper merge.
Well, if you head to our Facebook page, at this moment there is a nice little debate going on about whether or not you should be doing this method of commuting. So if you want to weigh in, head on over there and give your thoughts.
And if you think zipper merge doesn't get your heart racing, You got to try this next one.
My name is Rachel Wagner. We're sitting in my driveway in Lewisburg. I'm a residential apprentice carpenter. I used to hike back and forth from work for 4 to 5 years, hitchhike back and forth the Lewisburg Highway. I think people said it's about 50 kilometers.
That's Rachel Wagner. She's a 27-year-old single mom of 2 kids. Now, she hitchhiked to Sydney from Lewisburg, Cape Breton every day for years. She has a car now, and we're going to tell you why in just a little bit. But she's hitchhiked through some very remote areas, and she's had some pretty wild adventures along the way.
I've had a few interesting drives. I've met a lot of nice people who I'm probably going to miss talking to over the next year. But then I've had a few characters. There's a group of people that I'm pretty sure was hallucinating one day who picked me up. That was interesting. I got picked up on a motorbike one day, and then after we dropped my work bag off at the house, I went cruising around with him for a little bit. Very nice, respectful man. Never treated me badly once. I've been picked up by a school bus, dump truck. If you can think of it, I probably got picked up hiking by it.
I absolutely love that because I personally have never in my life hitchhiked, but when you hear her talk about it, she just makes it sound so fun and she just enjoys it so much. So what would it take to get you to hitchhike to work? Well, we asked her that question because we wanted to find out how it all started.
Well, I didn't have wheels, and it was either get up and hike to school and then hike to work or sit home on welfare, and I didn't want welfare to be my option. I just wanted it as my backup, and it wouldn't have given my kids the lives I wanted them to have. So I did what I had to do.
That's her now or never moment right there. She realized she had to do this in order to get to work every day, and she wasn't going to turn down the job, so hitchhiking it was. Now, here's the thing. A car rental company in Ontario heard about Rachel's epic hitchhiking journeys, and they actually gave her a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe with only 300 kilometers on it for an entire year. Now, she's had it for just over a month now.
When I got the call that I was getting a vehicle, it blew my mind because I figured it'd be another year or two before I had a vehicle. I figured I had another good little while of hiking left ahead of me. I couldn't believe it. I just kept repeating, oh my God, I can't believe this is mine. I can't believe I'm driving this. I can't believe somebody gave it to me. That's all I kept repeating the whole drive out. I just couldn't believe it. It still didn't completely sink in that I got this for a year.
I took the lead.
Oh, I've been exploring all the gadgets on the car. The seat's just so cool. The seat can tilt forward and tilt up. It can adjust around your back if you got a dip in your back. This car is smarter than most people I know.
If you listen to that and don't have a smile on your face, I'm pretty certain you don't have a soul. So I want to find out though, is there anything she's going to miss about standing on a highway and hitchhiking her way into work every morning?
I'm going to miss getting the gossip on what's going on. I always just get up and go to work and come home. I don't really know much about what's going on in my own town other than what people tell me from when I'm hiking.
She really makes hitchhiking seem like a community experience, getting to know gossip, getting to know people, having new experiences.
I love it. I love just hearing her talk about the whole thing. She's just so happy.
I'm going to try and hitchhike home. I probably won't.
Just asking me for a ride is not hitchhiking home, just as a heads up.
Aww.
That was Rachel Wagner, though, veteran hitchhiker in Lewisburg, Nova Scotia. You're listening to Now or Never on CBC Radio. I'm Trevor Dineen.
And I'm Chiwetelu.
Hi, my name's Ethan Fogarty. I am a grade 12 student from Riverview, New Brunswick. So I ride a unicycle to school. It's great exercise and it's great fun to get out there on it. When people see me, a lot of people act really surprised because it's not a thing you see very often. I have a lot of people like toot their horns or honk or stop and videotape in some cases. A lot of people say a lot of stuff like, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's hard, or I would never be able to do that, or join the circus. At this point, I'm good enough now that I will ride in the bike lane. But at first, I wasn't that great. So finding a place to learn was a big thing. But after that, it was, do I want to unicycle on the sidewalk? And that caused some issues. But now that I'm good enough, I just ride in the bike lane. And it's, besides being a little bit slower than a bike, it's basically a bike. Since my hands are free, sometimes I'll actually take out my guitar or my ukulele and I'll play that while I ride it. So people like that quite a bit.
I think for me, unicycling is firmly in the never column.
Really?
Not in this particular lifetime, no.
The thing about unicycling for me is that I don't think I've ever witnessed a unicyclist who doesn't look like he or she is 1 second away from falling over.
But good for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me. You're listening to Now or Never on CBC. I am Ifi Chiwetelu.
And I am Trevor Dineen. Now, today our mission is to make commuting the absolute best part of your day.
And if you have forgotten how horrible commuting can be, I went out with Katie Brunke. Now, she's a Toronto healthcare intern who has one of the most soul-crushing rides to work in the entire country. I'm going to say it. She does. She leaves her basement apartment every morning at 6:45 a.m. You know who else leaves at 6:45 a.m.? Nobody. There's no sun. There are no people. There's very little happiness. And she takes so many buses and subways to get there that I lost count. Let's check in. So right now we're at
Cape Station. So we're going to go this way, and we're going to go to Donland Station. So we're actually just going one stop east.
Yeah.
I try and avoid going on the subway as much as possible because there tends to be delays constantly. So it's one way to try and limit the amount of time that it takes.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure of a commute.
Absolutely.
And I'm really glad this escalator has decided.
The escalator's not working.
Is that normal?
Yes, it is normal, actually.
Now, what about your commute is it that you hate so much?
All the transferring. So it doesn't really seem like enough time to like settle into a book or get cozy. Like you're just constantly going from, one station to a stop to, wherever. And so it's very fractured. And I wish that it was more of a smooth commute with less transfers and more direct, because it seems like a very roundabout way to get to where I'm going.
Donland Station.
I don't know if you have a spot that you like.
I try and get the single seats.
Yeah?
Not gonna lie. Yeah.
That way you don't have to interact with people?
Yeah, I try and, get that 3 feet of personal space if possible.
Yeah. You're not getting that this morning. No, we're right here.
It's cozy.
Yeah. But do you ever, talk with people, engage with them?
No, not often. I find, the morning bus is really quiet. I think people are still waking up and everyone seems to be in their own little bubble. And at night, I think everyone's just so drained from the day and it's busy and packed. And your feet hurt and you're sweating and you can see people's faces are just kind of drained, unengaged, disengaged.
And I would have seen people's faces if they weren't trying so hard to avoid my gaze. That was that whole bus ride, was people just looking very firmly away. So that's what happens at that time in the morning. No one's really trying to talk.
Here's the thing, though. There is actual evidence out there that says if you engage with people, it actually makes your drive better, your commute better. We heard it straight from a professor named Michael Norton. Now, wait for it. This man is a happiness expert. An expert.
What combination of courses do you take?
I know. If he's never had sadness in his life because he's an expert.
Yeah.
But he's from the Harvard Business School. And here he is recounting a study by researchers from the University of Chicago.
The researchers went when people were commuting on buses and on subways, and they told them, today you can do your regular commute. Other people, though, they said, today you have to chat with the person who sits next to you. Everybody said, that's a terrible idea. I don't want to do it. It's going to be a disaster. But when they called them later, people who did business as usual with their earbuds in and texting the entire time were not as happy as the people who forced themselves to chat with a stranger. It turns out that engaging with other people is one of the ways that we can make our commutes better because we get a little bit more joy out of it.
I have to say I have had an enjoyable transit conversation.
Okay.
But there are times where, you just want to lose yourself in that book and you don't actually want anyone talking to you. And sometimes the conversations that I usually find people wanting to trap me in on transit are usually not great ones. It's usually like, this driver, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, this city's going to the garbage. And you're like, oh.
Thanks for the joy.
But this Candy Crush level was nothing but joy and delight.
Well, it's interesting, though, because there's actually a commuter in London, England, who decided that this past fall, he wanted to encourage subway travelers to try and chat with each other and talk with each other a little more. And so he made these little buttons. And he went to the subway and he started handing them out. And they had the word tube chat written on them. And he started giving them out to people.
I heard it didn't go very well.
It did not go as well as you probably thought, because another person decided to make their own buttons, and their buttons just said, nope. Like that, you gotta like that someone went out of the way to actually go and buy and create buttons that said that. Well, I wanted to see myself if we could make this campaign fly in Winnipeg, so I went out and I printed off a bunch of buttons, and all they said was, chat with me, with a little transit logo on there, and I went to the number 21 bus in Winnipeg, and I did a little traveling around to see if maybe I can get people to talk. Just making my way around. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Melissa.
I have a box of buttons here, and these buttons say, chat with me.
Okay.
If I gave you this button, would you wear it? Would you, when you're on the bus?
Yeah.
If I gave you a few buttons, would you hand them out as a way to strike up a conversation with someone?
Yeah.
Would you?
I would.
You are fantastic. What's your favorite part about talking to a stranger?
It's the not knowing who the person is, and they give you a little bit of information about them. It's just having curiosity and wanting to know people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun about it.
You said fun there. Does it make the commute more fun when you're engaging with somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just sitting there looking down your phone or just looking outside?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's more engaging.
Excellent. Hey, thank you very much, and nice to meet you.
Yeah. Lucky you're done because I have to get off.
This is your next stop?
Yeah.
Ding the button. Thank you. What's your name?
Devin.
Devin? When you're on the bus, do you talk to strangers?
No, never.
How come?
It's usually weird.
What happens if you saw them with these things? Chat with me buttons.
I'd ask what it is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If someone was wearing one of those, would you be like, oh, you know what? I'd chat with this person?
Not really.
No?
No.
It wouldn't do it?
No, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, honestly.
Has anyone tried to strike up a conversation with on the bus ever?
All the time, man. I'll usually go with it, but it's not like I'll try to engage it. Like, I'll answer the questions, you know what I mean? Or sometimes I'll just be straight up like, hey, man, I'm just trying to listen to some music right now. And then they'll kind of bug off.
So to you then, having a conversation on a bus with a stranger doesn't make the commute more fun?
I'd rather listen to my music personally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So right now you're like, I wish I just had my headphones on.
Oh, you guys are cool. Yeah. I know, it's alright.
So if I gave you some chat with me buttons, be honest too, because I'm not going to give you any if you're not going to hand them out. Okay, would you give them to people?
I don't think so, honestly.
Hey, thanks for chatting though, man.
Anytime, man. It was a good chat.
Hey there, what's your name?
My name's Daryl Chippaway.
Do you take the bus often?
Yes, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, I don't have a license actually, so I enjoy the bus because I get a lot of reading done on the bus, and I'm part of a book club, so this is where I do the majority of my reading for that club.
Okay, so that means while you're reading, you can't actually be talking to people. So,
No.
Do you ever converse with a stranger on the bus?
Never.
Well, you're doing it right now, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
don't you? Why don't you talk to people?
Well, because I'm an introvert, for the most part. And I don't know, it's just not my thing. Like,
No?
I know people have tried to talk to me and it's made me uncomfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I making you uncomfortable?
No.
That makes me feel good. I have these buttons here. What does that say?
Chat with me.
If you saw someone wearing that button, would you be like, okay, that I would chat with you because it's got a bus logo on it?
I might say hi, how are you?
Really?
That's about it. I find talking on the bus a little embarrassing, in part because when people talk, I tend to listen. and kind
You're
of
a little eavesdropper, you.
Yeah. No, I tend to listen and then kind of have this internal conversation with myself about what they're talking about. So then self-consciously, I kind of think, okay, maybe people are doing the same thing about me.
I very much like that you worded it the way you did, because what you could have said was, I'm judging them.
Well, maybe I'm partially doing that as well.
So if I gave you a bunch of these buttons, like let's say I give you 4 buttons, would you hand these out to some people?
I would.
You would?
I would.
And if you saw someone wearing it, would you actually say a little more than hi next time?
It would be difficult. It would be challenging, something I'm uncomfortable with, personally.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would force me to challenge a side of myself that I'm maybe a little uncomfortable with doing. So
yeah,
I'll try.
Yeah, I think you should talk to more people because you're very good conversationalist.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to let you get back to your reading,
Sure.
but I really do appreciate you talking with me.
No problem.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
I think my favorite part of this little experiment was seeing how many people actually did accept the buttons.
Yeah, I think I'd try it.
I hope you do.
Do you still have a button?
I have a
for
button
me?
for you.
Perfect.
If you want to check out the video of me going around talking to some of these people, go to our website, cbc.ca/nowornever. And then if you want a free button, if you're sitting there going, oh, I would love to do this in my community, just send us a tweet and we'll shoot some your way. It's at CBC Now or Never.
Now, I know that there are some people mid-commute right now listening to the show who are probably wondering how you commute without losing your mind. And nobody knows this better than Katie Brunke in Toronto, who's enduring her 2.5-hour daily commute by public transit. I asked Katie for some advice on how you survive. So what are some tips that you would give to people who also have horrible commutes to make them better?
Next stop.
Snacks for sure. I made muffins for us this morning, so
Yeah, you did.
nobody wants to be hangry. I would say music definitely helps. Like, depending on your mood, it can improve things and help the journey seem a little faster.
What kind of music would you suggest is best for a commute?
Well, I like to listen to some Beyonce sometimes. Yeah. Depends on the mood.
We made our own commuter playlist using some of your suggestions. We've also embedded that playlist on our Facebook.
Hello there, Canada. I'm Trevor Dineen.
And I'm Chiwetelu. You're listening to Now or Never on CBC Radio 1.
And today our mission is to help you make your commute the best part of your day. And I know you're probably thinking to yourself, that is crazy. The commute in the morning and the afternoon is the worst part of my day. But I like to think that we've given some pretty good alternatives so far to just sitting in traffic and just hating every moment of it.
So far, we hope you're willing to try the zipper merge, try your hand at hitchhiking, or maybe even buy a unicycle.
You know what I'm excited about?
What?
Especially now that winter's here?
Staying inside.
Kick sledding.
Oh.
You put one foot on the slider and the other foot kicks you along. And once you get going, you get to ride both feet.
I love winter because I love kick sledding. If conditions are good, I'm all over it. What I need is a critical mass of people to have kick sleds so that people can use them to get around.
And that's how a lot of folks in Whitehorse are getting around this winter. And I'm going to bring you that story a little later in the show.
But first, just to remind you how grueling commuting can be, we're going to take a trip to one of the fastest, most competitive speedways in Canada, the Toronto Bike Lane.
Oh, people who ride in the bike lanes are generally crazy. They're just a little bit more aggressive because I feel like they think that the bike lane is specifically for them when it's not always.
You have cyclists who are very aggressive. I actually feel safer going on a road that doesn't have that much cyclists.
You have people that are using it as a racetrack. They think that they're Lance Armstrong and it's a place to race people. I think that's a little bit dangerous.
If there's too much cyclists, it's like, no, I'm not going to go in the bike lane. I'd rather go in the car lane.
I think that really does say a lot when you start hearing about cyclists going into car lanes and avoiding bike lanes just because they become too dangerous or they just become too fast. Now, I know in Winnipeg, there's a gentleman who is trying very hard to change that culture. His name is Anders Swanson. He doesn't want to see mid-sized cities become overrun by speedy cyclists, so what he found was an alternative to the Lance Armstrong kind of biking. He calls them Dutch bikes.
A Dutch bicycle is a bicycle for sitting upright, looking at the landscape as it goes by. The difference is that it's meant for everyday riding, and that to me is a lot more fun than some of the other options. This one's almost like riding in a lazy boy around town.
Who wouldn't like that? Riding a lazy boy around town. Now, Anders feels so ridiculously strongly about these Dutch bikes, and he thinks that the answer for a more relaxed, comfortable bike commute, that he's decided to go ahead and do something about it himself. What he's done is he's lined up 100 Dutch bikes from the Netherlands, and is all set to ship them to Winnipeg this coming spring. Now, that is if he can convince 100 Winnipeggers to buy them first, and they're going for $250 a pop. Now, one thing that's really cool about these Dutch bikes, though, is that you can actually have your own little carpool on there. You can easily jump right on the back rack. So I decided to ask Anders if we could go, Dutch.
Yeah, for sure. That's half the fun.
Yeah, well, you can do this?
Absolutely.
Now, do I get on, I'm used to, when I was a kid, you jump on the front handlebars.
Right, yeah.
That's not the way it works here.
Typically, riding Dutch is actually on the rack, and every plain bicycle in the Netherlands has a rack for that reason.
Excellent. I'm getting on. Here we go. I like this because I'm used to when you get on the back of a bike, you think it's like a motorcycle where you straddle it. But this is kind of like sitting down sideways with my 2 feet dangling off the one side. So that's a little bit different. I'm going to wrap my arm around you here. I'm going to come underneath your shoulder. Oh, this is nice here.
I should know this because I'm supposed to know all kinds of things about bicycle policy and law and that kind of stuff. But I'm 99% sure that it's illegal to double in some places in Canada, in BC, for example.
Really?
Yeah. And, hey, Sean, you need a ride too? A Dutch bike can take 3 people. Yeah, so this happens to me all the time riding a bicycle. You run into people you know.
We just been biking around a block here, and you can tell how different this is for people to see someone being doubled like this, because the amount of looks I've gotten from people, whether it be smiles or just looks of just kind of like, oh, that's new, is interesting. Even the people behind me right now at the stoplight are smiling and waving at me. It's got a nice little feel to it. I feel like it brings out a little bit of joy, which you don't really see when someone's commuting with their back hunched over, their helmet on, and just pedaling top speed.
Yeah, for sure. That sense of joy. If anything, there's jealousy. People in cars are often pretty miserable. If you look at the kind of thing that influences whether or not you're happy in your job, the number one is actually commute time. So after about 25 minutes of needing to commute in a car, people really want to start to just jump off a bridge rather than keep driving anymore. And it will really impact whether they're happy at all in their job, for example. And I have a car. I use it for some fun things, to like moving canoes around, moving my hockey gear. I would do it in a different way if, the landscape was built for me, but I just can't. It's not like it defines who I am. But the bicycling part, the first time I tried it, I just realized that it was something that was doing something for my peace of mind, I guess.
And I like that you described it earlier as the lazy boy of biking, because at the end of the day, let's be honest here, people, who doesn't like cozying up next to somebody on a lazy boy?
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks so much, Anders.
No problem.
I can definitely say that was one of the more comfortable doubling rides I've ever had in my entire life. And if you want to get your own Dutch bike, Anders Swanson still has a few that are unspoken for. And just remember, don't double unless it's legal.
Hi, Trevor and Efi. Dan Matheson here, the Mayor of Stratford, Ontario calling. I see you're talking about journey and travel and transportation, and I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about driverless cars that you're seeing so many automakers, including Google and Uber, get deeper into. So in Stratford, what we're hoping to do is to test the connected and autonomous cars over the next 5 years. We've been working to develop not only signalization, so stoplights and street lights that are connected, but also how cars are going to talk to one another, how it's going to affect public transit, and then what's it mean with regards to traffic congestion and wait times at stoplights and other things. I know people think of Stratford as a small community of about 34,000, but I think they forget we welcome over 1 million visitors a year to Stratford because of the Stratford Shakespeare Festival and, of course, our beautiful parks. So we believe we're the just right size, the Goldilocks per se. So we're pretty excited about it, and I invite all of you to come on out and see it. We're going to start working on it through the winter right now. We're testing the network, and next spring we're planning on launching. So we'd be happy to host your folks out there, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for taking my call.
I feel bad because technically we didn't take his call.
No.
We saw his name pop up on the old caller ID, and we chickened out and let it go to voicemail.
We got real nervous.
It's a mayor.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, Mayor, for leaving that voicemail on our Now or Never hotline.
Yeah.
Now, while Stratford, Ontario is going to be getting wired up for self-driving cars, up in the Yukon, folks in Whitehorse are on the verge of a kick sled revolution. What is that, you ask? Here's Ann Midler.
The kick sled revolution, I've been talking about it for 7 years, and people are getting tired of it. So I thought I need to actually make something happen. And what I need is a critical mass of people to have kick sleds so that we can help to ensure that the wintertime infrastructure exists so that people can use them to get around.
Well, we wanted to find out a little bit more about these kick sleds, so we got a hold of Cheryl Kawaja, who is a CBC reporter up in the Whitehorse area. Now, she's getting to the bottom of this so-called kick sled revolution. Hello there, Cheryl.
Hi, Trevor.
So, what is a kick sled?
Okay, so I've heard people describe it as a snow scooter of sorts. Have you ever seen a mushing sled? You know,
yes.
With the dogs. Okay, so picture that sled without the dog team and a smaller version. So there are 2 skis, there's sort of like a chair in the front and then a handle. And you step on the skis and you put one foot on and then you kick along and off you go.
I feel like having the dogs there, though, would make it a lot less tiring for me.
Yeah, but this way it's a workout, right?
So how is Anne making this kick sled revolution come alive?
Well, Anne has been into kick sledding for years, and she's been talking it up to her friends, but she decided that this is the year that she wants to make a kick sled revolution happen for the Yukon. It's already quite a thing in Northern Europe. People use them to get around. And so she ordered 350 kick sleds from Northern Europe. She had them sent over to Canada on a shipping container. And then they were trucked across the country, shipped up to the Yukon, and they just arrived last week. She's going to have a launch party next week, and she would like to see more people get into this. In fact, she would like to see 1% of the Yukon population kick sledding. That's a few hundred people this winter.
Is anyone using them right now?
There are people already using kick sleds, and there's a woman who lives here in Whitehorse named Jocelyn McDole. She's a kick sledder.
You put one foot on the slider, the rail, and the other foot kicks you along. And once you get going, you get to ride both feet. I get lots of looks. People who get a chance to actually approach me are amazed and totally actually agog, because it is such a beautiful item, and it is a weird thing to see someone gliding by on it. You get sweaty for sure. Depends on the conditions, like if you have to carry it a lot, or if you're going uphill a lot, or if the snow is very thick, deep, you have to push, you have to work pretty hard. Sort of feels like a workout actually, but yeah. It's a happy time to be moving my body, and I have my mind and my brain to myself. It's a meditative time.
I feel it's funny because my brain, when she started describing it there at the beginning, it flashed back to when I was a child. And you remember when you used to go and grab a shopping cart and then you kind of run with it, and then all of a sudden you jump on the back and just kind of be flying down an aisle on the shopping cart? That's what it reminded me of.
Exactly, but on snow.
On snow, and not terrorizing everyone in a store either. So, did you actually get on yourself and do this?
I did have a chance to get on it. It
was
was really fun. Yeah, it was good. It was just after one of the first snowfalls we've had this year in Whitehorse. So the snow wasn't really hard. And Anne said usually if the snow is packed down, you glide a bit faster. But nonetheless, I didn't mind at all. I got to jump on and go for a little ride up and down the Yukon River on the side of the river. And it was great.
Could you see yourself doing that as a commute?
Maybe. There's a really big hill that I have to come down to get into the downtown core of Whitehorse, so it could be a crazy ride down the hill. But
Could you imagine every day everyone's like, here comes Cheryl down the hill. Everyone back up.
Yeah, we'll see, but I'd definitely love to try it again. It was fun.
So for kick sledding, is it more used right now for commuting, or is it just people going out there just having a lot of fun with it?
There's, a handful of people who are using kick sleds to commute right now, but what Anne would really love to see is more people getting on kick sleds, trying it, and getting out there.
I love winter because I love kick sledding, and if I'm just going to the mailbox or heading to the library, or just wanting to go for a little burn up and down my street, if conditions are good, I'm all over it. So really it's just, we live in a winter place. This is just another sort of string in your bow for activities to do to keep you happy and active in the wintertime.
I love that line, another string in your bow. You actually took some video of this, is this correct?
I did, yeah. I shot some video of Jocelyn on her kick sled down by the Yukon River in Whitehorse.
Well, we're going to post that up on our Facebook page at CBC Now or Never. Hey, Cheryl, thanks so much for joining us on this.
Thank you, Trevor.
And happy kick sledding. And I'm going to watch for news stories of someone rocketing down a hill up in the Whitehorse area.
I'm going to get a helmet, I think.
Thanks so much.
Bye now.
It's interesting to me that Anne is taking such a big financial gamble with these kick sleds.
I know, it's amazing too, because both her and Anders, they're shipping these things in from Europe in these giant shipping containers, and Anne, she's on the hook for 350 kick sleds because she bought them all herself. And now she's saying she's going to give herself between this winter and next winter to sell them all and hopefully break even.
Oh man, if anyone out there wants a kick sled,
call Anne.
Now.
Now you're listening to Now or Never on CBC Radio. I'm Trevor Dineen.
And I'm Chiwetelu. So today our mission is to find out how to make commuting the best part of your day. Here's another guy who's basically nailed it. John Hall of Sudbury, Ontario. He gets to work. You want to guess?
Bird. Just riding a bird.
He gets to work by canoe.
The idea of being able to canoe to work, I think that's a bit of a half dream, half fun joke to tell your friends. It takes people a moment to really let it sink in. They think maybe I've driven somewhere and put my canoe in and paddled for a little bit, but to actually understand that it's from the backyard to the front door of where I work, you really need to kind of look at a map to appreciate it. But they say it's a very northern Ontario thing to be able to do. Well, we're going to go along Lily Creek, and we'll be in a bit of a heavily forested area for a little while. Go over a few beaver dams and a few downfalls where a bit of debris has built up. And then eventually the creek will widen out, and we'll enter a sort of marsh reeds area where the swans nest. And then we'll go underneath Paris Road, and we'll pop out into the beautiful, hopefully nice and calm Ramsey Lake. I think your body needs these sorts of daily activities.
I feel like when he gets out of the canoe, he must just skip to work because he's just so happy and peaceful and just in such a good headspace.
I think so, but I'm also wondering, where does he park the canoe? Like, do you use like a bike lock to where do you dock a canoe that you can keep it there for the day?
Every day he's just portaging that thing over his head.
So maybe he's not skipping because he's holding an entire canoe over his head. I'd love to try it though.
Would you actually do it?
I would do it. So I know one Canadian, at least, who can't canoe to work, and that's Katie Brunke of Toronto. We heard some highlights of her morning commute that I joined her with earlier, and it is not fun.
Really?
It's not an enjoyable commute.
You mean waking up early in the morning and going from home, walking to a bus stop, busing to a subway station, taking a subway to another bus stop so you can bus to another place you have to walk isn't fun?
Yeah, surprisingly, no. But luckily, I only had to do it for the one day. See, Katie does that twice a day, 5 days a week. So she's spending 2.5 hours in traffic every day to go 7 kilometers. So Katie's actually been listening to the show, and I thought it'd be a good idea to call her up and see if she's been inspired by any of these great commutes that we featured today. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
I miss you. I miss us.
It's been a little bit.
I know. We bonded over such
I know,
a
we had a
horrible
good little
experience.
journey together.
You've now had a chance to hear the episode, and there's been a lot of people sharing different ways about commuting. Was there one that you were like, you know what, I love it. If I could, this would be it?
I could get behind biking if it was like leisurely and I wasn't like super sweaty by the end of my trek. I would have to be really prepared and like have an extra outfit and all of that.
We met at 6:45 a.m. and you had baked muffins earlier that day. So I feel like you are capable of that level of organization.
This is true.
What if someone gave you a bike? What if we found a bike?
Are you a part-time bike salesperson too?
You know what's so funny? I left my bike in Toronto. I'm not even biking right now in Winnipeg. So
are you saying you have a spare bike?
Oh, I do actually. I'm gonna set you up with my bike. I want you to try it out. Okay, so next week, Katie Brunke.
Yes.
I want you to try to bike to and from work one day.
Next week? That's so soon.
It's like the name of the show. It's now or never.
Oh, man. Okay, the pressure's on. I promise I'll try.
Okay, which day do you think you're going to try?
Oh, my God, you're really holding me to this, eh? What day? I'm just going to say a Thursday, which is totally random.
Great.
Are you going to check in?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We're going to get off the radio so I don't have to give my address across this. We're going to talk offline. I'm going to...
Good plan. We'll sort out the details.
Thanks so much, Katie, and thanks for listening to the episode. I hope you try all of it, especially the biking next week.
Thanks. Have a good night.
I really hope she does it.
Do you think she will, though?
I don't know. She better. She has my bike.
Well, hopefully after listening to this episode, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and you're going to think to yourself, I'm going to try something just small to make my commute a little bit better, whether it be just talking to someone on a bus.
Or maybe you're going to listen to a song that you really love, have a little dance break in your car.
But at any point in time, if you think to yourself, hey, I want to share some thoughts on my awesome commute, you can tweet us, you can Facebook us, Instagram us. On all platforms, we're CBC Now or Never.
And if you tune in late and you want to hear the whole episode, go to our website, cbc.ca/now or never. It is all there for you.
I'm about to go jump on my unicycle right now and make my way home. Do you mind handing me my oboe?
No problem. Yep, that's all it's going to be.